Hey, good morning. Welcome to Integrative Preparedness. How are you all today? I want to talk about rebellion to tyrants. That's a term with which all of you are familiar, I'm sure, and it's one that I think we need to talk about. I tell you what made me do that. I was shooting a video earlier today for American Reversion, and it was about the great Amish eggnog raid that Pennsylvania's Department of Agriculture and state troopers pulled against an Amish farmer up in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. His name was Amos Miller, and they raided it, took all of his eggnog and raw milk and all that. And what the deal was, I'll make this short because I explain it all over on the American Reversion channel. If you're not with us, the link's down below. We talk a lot more about taking our country back, politics over there. So if you're interested in that, come join us. Apparently, some kid in New York State got sick. Another kid in Michigan got sick. And they both had E. coli, and they somehow traced it back to both of them had drank raw milk from the Miller farm. I question that, okay? But anyway, this is just the latest example of the government boot on the small farmer's neck, going after people who are providing for their own food. Okay, you wanna watch that one, and I've put up, as I always do, over on the Patreon channel of that channel, I put up the entire article, so you can read it. I think it's a Newsweek article. You can probably find it in Newsweek, but it's over there for those of you who are there. And of course, that got me to while I was thinking about that, I was drinking my first cup of coffee out of the New American Reversion Rebellion to Tyrants mug. You all have seen that, right? I said that this is the newest one. I love this one. This is great. Beautiful. On the back, it has and these are available now up on the website, on the stonemont.us website. On the back, it has that part from the Declaration that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness, right? And that, of course, from the Declaration, the author of which, Thomas Jefferson. Okay, so anyway, so yes, those are available now over on the stonemont.us website. Beautiful, beautiful. They came out beautifully. Got a couple more in the pipeline too, but you're going to want this one. So that made me think about the title for this one, Rebellion to Tyrants, and we're going to talk about that. A couple other things I just put up on the Patreon channel of this one, for those of you who are with us. If you're not, the link is down below. It'll be well worth your while. You'll be glad you joined us. Come be a member over there. You'll get a lot out of it. I put up a video that Paul Harrell just put out on the El Presidente drill. And if you're familiar with it, it's a handgun drill. If you're not familiar with it, it's still a handgun drill. It's a good drill. It was developed by Jeff Cooper many years ago when he was on some security detail down South America, someplace, I think, I forget. It's a good drill. You can watch it over there. I would make a couple of changes in it. Okay. And I'll share that. I'm not going to get up here and demonstrate, but I think I can explain it. The drill is this. It's for engaging multiple attackers, essentially, on a personal protection detail. Having been on personal protection details, I have some experience with this, and I can tell you that the average person is rarely going to be in a position to where the El Presidente would be necessary to train, but it's a good drill. It's good practice. And the way that Paul did it is a little bit different than it was originally designed. Was you have three targets, A, B, and C. You start, and he started them at 10 yards, I think. Doesn't matter. Start where you want to. And you're gonna draw. You start off with your hands up and your back to the supposed attackers. And then, at the command, or apparently from the first shot you hear from behind, in which case, why didn't you see them coming? Okay. But anyway, you put 1 in target A, 1 in target B, 2 in target C, and then work your way back, another 1 in target B, another 1 in target A. Then he has them reload and repeat it. Okay. Okay. And the way that he turns, okay, let me put in this, what I would change on that. Because I think that Cooper's initial drill was 2, 2, and 2. Okay, nothing wrong with that, and nothing wrong with the way that Harold does it. But what I would do, I would change it up a little bit. I would do the same on the first round. I'd put 1 in A, 1 in B, 2 in C, and then, another 1 in B, another 1 in A. And then, if you are going to reload, start first off with C, 2 in C. 1 in B, 1 in A, 1 in A, 1 in B, 1 in C. Whatever. However that works out, okay? Sorry, I'm doing math. The reason that I would do that is that, Mac, my dog's about to knock over the Christmas tree. Yeah, you good boy. The reason that I would do that is because you never know, depending on what the dynamics of the situation is, which one of those targets you need to engage first. And so always starting on the left and working towards the right, I think you want to have the ability to go from right to left as well. Okay. Now, the other thing that I would change a little bit is part of the issue is starting with your back to the assailants, with your hands up. They step across, they pivot on their weak foot, and turn around, and then present to the threat. That's unstable, in my opinion. Now, it's probably because of my martial arts background. Repositioning yourself is important. Repositioning yourself smoothly is important, and stably is important. So the way that I would suggest you do it is, instead of pivoting around on your weak foot, drop your weak foot back behind your strong foot and then pivot around. If you'll try that, maybe someday I'll demonstrate this. Hopefully I explained it enough for you to understand it. If you will try that, you'll find that it's more stable. It also repositions you for anybody shooting at you. And it's just smoother. You're going to come up a lot easier on your targets. Okay. So that would be, and if you normally carry an auto, I don't see any reason to reload. I know it's just a part of, adding an extra element in the drill, reloading, okay. But I tell you what, if you're in this situation and you actually have to engage multiple targets at this distance and you need to reload, you had better not just be standing there reloading, okay. Reloads in the field are never as smooth as reloads on the range. I mean, unless you practice this stuff with government ammo, which means you're doing it all the time and you don't have to worry about paying for your own ammo, and you can spend several hours a day on the range, and even then, people who have been in the situations, that if you have to do it while you're being shot at, it's not as smooth as when you weren't, right? Okay. So that's up over on the Patreon channel. And just the other day, I made a comparison, knife comparison. I don't do these things on the the normal YouTube channel. I'll just show you this. I made a comparison between two knives, the Cold Steel SRK and the Cold Steel Leatherneck SF. There it is. So I made the comparison on those, pretty much a review. I had done a review on the SRK before. I did a review on this, and I compared them just yesterday or the day before. Okay, so that's up on the Patreon. And then after this, after I get done with this, I will be reading the next chapter, the Audible, of my second book, The Revival. And then one more thing to really tick off the people who said, you get to the point, you never get to the point. Yeah, everything I say is the point, okay? most people can pick that up. And then I just put up one. I had a question on the American Reversion channel about whether Christians should be involved in politics. And I took that opportunity to put out a message on the church channel, on Stonemont Church channel, okay, with a message about should Christians be involved in politics. I know that's a question that a lot of people have. If you have that question, if you're interested in it, join us over there. The links to both the American Reversion channel and the Stonemont Church channel is down below. Had somebody on the American Reversion channel says, hey, I can't find it. I can't find the link. And I just checked, and you know what? The link to the church channel was left off for some reason. I don't know. I'll fix that when I'm done with this. Okay, let's get to the point. Rebellion to tyrants, ooh, there we go, is obedience to God. Yes, it is. Why? Because if you obey tyrants, are you doing God's work? Now, I'm gonna slip this biblical reference in for just a second, and that is Paul, in a couple of places, Romans being one, Titus another, says you are to obey the government. Well, obedience to tyrants takes it to a whole different level, doesn't it? Okay, obedience to tyrants. They drag your neighbor out in the street, and they tell you to come out here and execute him. Should you obey the government? I mean, really, do I have to ask that? So let's talk about rebellion to tyrants. You know, there's a lot of talk. And when I put out the one over a few days ago about how they will take the guns if they wanted to, I put it out of exactly how it could be. And I had so many comments. I took a lot of them off because they were rude, they were argumentative, and we don't allow that here. If you're new here, you've come to a place where everybody is nice and polite, and if they're not, I take care of it, okay? And a lot of this bluff and gruff and nope, you know, cold dead hands and things like this. And from people that I know, you can always tell those people never done anything, right? Nobody who's ever done anything talks like that. Seriously, they don't. It's kind of like the ones who like to talk all military, you know, but weren't in the military, you know, saying all sorts of tactical things. Big growl, no bite. But we are not in a position at this time to where rebellion really, if you are thinking about rebellion being an armed rebellion, we're not at that point, and I'm not sure that we're anywhere close to it. But what we are, as is demonstrated by the raid on Amos Miller's farm for his eggnog, is we are at the point of resistance to tyrannical laws and application of that laws, enforcement of that laws. How do we do that? We do that. We resist. See, to the extent that we can resist, we may not have to go to that open rebellion level. Who wants to do that? Only a fool wants to go to open rebellion. Remember the scene? I know it was a movie, but it was a good scene in The Patriot, to where Mel Gibson's character, he didn't want a rebellion. Do you know why? Because he had been involved in war. He knew the slaughter. He knew the inhumanity. And it's not just the inhumanity to man demonstrated by what one does to another, but the psychological, the mental, the effect, the spiritual effect, actually, on the person who commits those actions. It's beyond what most people who have not done those things begin to understand. And those are the ones that go, oh, let's go to war, we're going to stand up and no, you don't want that. What we want is resistance. Okay, I might make another mug. Maybe I'll rewrite or I'll edit Nah, I won't. I won't edit the declaration. But we should add, in order to avoid having to go to rebellion to tyrants, let's resist tyrants. Let's resist them. We do that by, well, civil disobedience. And I don't mean the burning of the, of cities and towns like the Summer of Love, like the George Floyd incident. What I mean is resisting immoral, unethical, essentially unconstitutional laws. Have you ever all drunk raw milk? Yeah, I have. I remember down on the farm, at first when I started drinking raw milk, we didn't have that at home, right? But Granddad always had a pitcher of milk up there, big globs of fat and cream floating around on top. Those of you who have done that know what I'm talking about. After a while, you go, well, this is pretty good, right? This is the way that people naturally did things forever, until pasteurization, homogenization, all of these things. Now, they did, well, I won't go into that, no reason to go into that. But then all of a sudden the government says, you have to do it our way because we're from the government and we're to help. We're here to help you because we can't allow you to do the things the way you want to do them. And my kids had a hot cocoa stand out, my daughter, she had a Christmas party, a lot of her friends over. They went out front because we live in a Christmas neighborhood. And if you want to see a picture of my house with the Christmas lights on it, that is also over on today's Patreon. Today's Patreon subject, our chat subject, let's put it that way, on Patreon. I said, well, we're to the 6th of January, and it'll be the last night that I have my lights on my house. And because now it's kind of the mental leap into the new year. So I put, if you want to see what my house looks like with the Christmas lights on it, it's over there in that post. But anyway, they were going to put a hot cocoa stand out. And one of the kids said, isn't that illegal? That's right. They had been told by somebody in their family that it was illegal to have a hot cocoa stand. And you know what? They're not wrong. That's the sad thing. They're not wrong. Every now and then you'll hear a story about some poor kid with a lemonade stand that they come and shut him down because his lemonade wasn't made in a commercial kitchen or some stinking thing, right? Okay. This is government overreach. The reason that the government keeps overreaching more and more each time is simply the give an inch principle, right? We don't step up. We don't resist idiocies when they're small. And as a result, they take a mile and they keep taking more and more. Now, this is all a part of preparedness. Preparedness is being able to live outside that system, right? As I always say, integrative preparedness is being able to live out, excuse me, I got to clear my throat. The integrative preparedness is being able to live outside and independent, completely divorced from all those external systems over which you have little or no control, right? If you don't have to rely on that system, you're going to be in pretty good shape. From a preparedness standpoint, you're going to be in good shape if everything collapses. But what if everything doesn't collapse? Your attempts or your ability to live outside the system means you're doing things that probably are regulated, that they want to regulate. The average person can't believe how many laws are on the books. Every time a legislative body gets together, whether it's the city council, the county commission, the state legislature, the U.S. legislature, or your HOA, or I don't care what, one of the things, or half the time, any little group that you put together, half the time, a lot of the energy is going to be taken up with what rule can we make? What more rules can we make? Oh, something happened over here, right? Little Johnny got sick, got a little food poisoning, which how many people get food poisoning? All the time, right? How often do you hear a recall on food because of E. coli? Okay, food poisoning. Some people got food poisoning. They recalled it. But how often do you get it from somebody, drinking raw milk? Hardly ever. But whenever, you'll often hear raids on farms for people selling raw milk. Okay, you can't butcher your cow and sell it to your neighbor because the federal government feels that it has a hand in that transaction, right? And it goes into all other areas. Well, preparing for the future doesn't just mean stockpiling food and ammo and Band-Aids and all those kinds of things. It means trying to have an effect on the world around you that makes it easier for you to survive in the future, even without a collapse, and to do well. Now that takes political action, and I understand that it's not something that many people on this channel want to talk about. And that's why I put in the American Reversion channel for those of you who do understand that that's important, because winning that fight keeps us from having to fight the other fight we don't want to fight. Please join us on American Reversion. The link is down below. I'll keep pumping this, but this is so important right now. You may never have to live through a total collapse of everything in your lifetime. Now you might. I mean, a CME is certainly not, scientists are sure it's going to happen, right? An economic collapse very well could happen. All sorts of things. Societal collapse. This year might bring political upheaval to our country, that country being the United States. Maybe if you don't live in the United States, maybe in your country too, who knows? After all, the Koreas are flexing at each other. But that may never happen in your lifetime, but you will have to deal with the governmental boot on your neck every day for the rest of your life. And you need to be able to do that. Now, some people will stand up and try to have an effect on that. Some people will say, well, I'm gonna work underground. I'm gonna try to do it without them knowing what I'm doing. Well, I fully understand that. I'm a big proponent of guerrilla living. But realizes that puts you in a precarious position. It really does. And no, black t-shirt saying hooting and hollering is going to protect it. It's a matter of doing it right. Now, I'm not going to talk about doing it right here. Sometimes I get on Patreon about that. But it's better if we can not have to do it. Wouldn't you agree? And that means changing things, changing the way things are done. That is a huge element of preparedness. Trying not just to survive a fallen world, but to change the world to whatever extent we can, so that it doesn't continue to present the same threat, the level of threat that it has to us in the past. Many of you on this channel won't think that can happen. Well, you don't think that politics works. I'll just throw this in again. Politics works for the other side. Why isn't it working for you? Because you're not involved. Simple as that. Simple as that. You're not involved. You won't take the time or the energy to go out and do something about it. There you have it. I know the truth hurts, but the truth will set you free if you will simply consider it and understand it. Okay? So, rebellion to tyrants. That day may come. Until then, let's think more about resistance to tyrants, because within resistance is rebellion. And if you really want to get involved in that. Do it. Pretty much every day allows you the opportunity to, in some way, resist. If you simply see the opportunity and take it. Okay? All right. If I didn't say this at the beginning, they're jacking with this channel. They have been for a long time. If you would leave a comment, it helps. If you would give it a thumbs up, it helps. I appreciate it. Make sure that you're subscribed to this channel. Had somebody tell me the other day that they have been unsubscribed 3 times in 1 week from this channel. Why? Because I tell the truth. Okay? They don't like it. They'll let all sorts of big channels on with all sorts of scary stuff and stuff like that. But I get down to what you really need to be doing, and that scares them. And share it. So did I say, make sure that you're subscribed, subscribe, hit the bell so that you're notified every time I put out a video, which is pretty much every day. And I also put out one on American Reversion, have been every day. And then share this. Share this video with as many people as you think appropriate, as many people as you can think, because, the larger the movement, the more gets done. And if you really want to improve your preparedness, that means reducing the threats you're going to have to deal with. And that takes a lot of people to do it, if we're going to do it. So keep that in mind. Again, join us over on the Patreon channel. For those things, Paul Harrell's El Presidente drill, my comparison of the cold steel SRK versus the cold steel, what did they call it? Something or other. I don't even remember. The SF, Leatherneck SF, standing for Semper Fi. And then over on the church channel, if you would like to hear me explain whether Christians should be involved in politics. Okay? Hey, you all have a good day. Remember that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. So get out there and do something. And I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.